World Cup qualifiers against Gabon and the Seychelles. Without wasting much time, let's go straight to the head coach, Johnathan McKinstry, who is currently in Spain. Coach, the floor is yours for you to unveil the squad.
Thank you, Abakar. We'll get straight into it, really. Obviously, we're just coming off the back of a very strong camp in September, and it probably won't surprise many people that many changes. Time, both Adama Bojang and Abdoulaye Bamba Sanyang have injuries that make them unavailable for consideration, but otherwise we only make a couple of changes. So the squad for the October window is Ibrahim Darju, Sheikh Sibi, Abubakar Gay, Omar Colley, Abubakar Sidi Kinte, Mamadou Lion Njai, James Gomez, Alaji Sane, Seni Sanyang, Joseph Cisse, Mohamed Sane, Ibu Adams, Abubakar Bari, Mamadou Bajo, Jesper Cisse, Mohamedou Drame, Abdoulaye Mane, Musa Barrow, Aliou Federa, Yankuba Minte, Abdoulaye Cisse, Adama Sidibe, and Ali So. So as you can see, only a couple of changes really. We welcome back in James Gomez and Abdoulaye Cisse to the group. They've been missing the last couple of camps through injuries and one or two things, but otherwise we've maintained a pretty constant group from the September window, and we go into the October window with confidence, with enthusiasm. We know the test against Gabon especially will be challenging, but we hope to again put on a good and strong performance and hopefully pick up as many points as possible.
Coach, before we ask the media to ask questions, you mentioned a couple of players that are not in the group due to injury. We've also realized that Serif Sinyan is also not in the squad. The public want to know why he's not in.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheriff Sinyan picked up his second yellow card in the game against Burundi, which means he's suspended for the game against Gabon. Now, obviously, we had a choice to make because he is eligible to play against the Seychelles, but ultimately we decided rather than bringing him and he would sit out the first game, we thought to bring another player in who was eligible for both games. So we spoke with Sheriff. In fact, I had dinner with him a couple of nights ago in Romania with our other players who are in Romania, and he understands the situation. Naturally, he's disappointed not to be involved, but the yellow card suspension meant we thought it better to bring in someone who's eligible for both games.
Couple of journalists in the house. I'm sure your friend Bajinga would want to start firing his questions at you. You know, yes. Mr. Bajinga, you wanna? Yes.
Congratulations. All right. Good morning, Coach. Congratulations in advance. I believe on Friday. That is October 10. If you play Gabon, that will be your 15th game. Of course, that will be 13 in major games, but including the two international friendlies against Equatorial Guinea and Uganda, that will include to make it, of course, 15. So congratulations in advance. Now, you talked about, rankings. And in the world, you move from 123rd to 115th. On the continent, you move from 34th to 30th, which is very, very important. It's all down to the latest games you played, winning against Kenya 3-1. That is at the Moi International Stadium in Nairobi, Kenya, with Serif Sinyan scoring 12th minute, Yankuba Minte scoring 25th minute, then 38th minute, also another goal by Musa Barrow. So it's like the game was done and dusted in the first half. So it's like the rankings are now coming to terms because of the result against Kenya, and the second one against Burundi at the, Nyayo International Stadium or Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi, Kenya. Well, a goal from, that is Aliou Fadera, now on loan at Sassuolo in Italy. That penalty is top-notch. I could see your reaction, how you did this way, and also the clap, that is the applause by yourself, 76th minute when Ebo Adams, rose high to score to make it 2-0 for you in the second half. So all those results are wonderful. It's like you won 3-1, you won 2-0, and it's like in 2 games you scored 5 goals, you conceded 1, and because of this your points moved from 1,141.36 now to 1,165.93 points. It's like a leap of 25.57 points. So congratulations. I believe you must be pleased with the results with regards to the rankings.
Yeah, look, ultimately, the rankings go hand in hand with performances, and not just performances and results, but against nations ranked higher than you. I think we noted in a previous press conference that, up until this most recent window, the only team that we played who were ranked lower than the Gambia were the Seychelles in the very first game. Obviously, Burundi were ranked a few places below us. So out of those, sort of, 14 games now, I think we've only played 2 teams who are ranked lower than us in the rankings. So the rise in the rankings is something that we have to target, because it will give us better seeding coming into future both African Cup groups as well as World Cup qualifying groups. But yeah, look, we constantly go out in most of the games. In terms of historical rankings, we would be considered the underdogs to many onlookers around the world. But we know we have the talent in the group, the more levels we can football. Again, we're going to play against a Gabon team who are very highly ranked. They're still chasing their World Cup position. They're neck and neck with the Ivory Coast in chasing their place in the 2026 World Cup. So we know it's going to be another huge game for us, and we've got huge quality. But look, we're on a good path at the moment, but we can't take anything for granted. We can't relax. We have to keep looking to raise our levels.
Like I believe you have now, get your tools, because with regards to your squad rotation, you could have maintained, the starting seat against Kenya to Burundi, but you decided to rotate the squad and you kept a clean sheet without key players like Musa Baro, like Yankuba Minte. So I believe this is also another turning point where you are, turning doubters to believers.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't necessarily call it rotation. It is ultimately what it is. If you leave one player out of the lineup and you bring another one in, it is rotation. But if you look at my career, I like to maintain a pretty solid starting 11. We don't rotate too much last games. The nature of it is what.
Well, we've lost connection with the coach there due to network, but then I think he's already done the job before leaving. Once again, without much ado, I'll just read out the 23-man squad again before we bring this press conference to a close. Goalkeepers are Ibrahim Ajaju, Sheikh Sibi and Babukar Gay. Defenders Omar Koli, Abubakar Sidi Kinte, Mamadou Lion Jai, James Gomez, Alaji Sen, Seni Sanyang, Joseph Sise, Mohamed Sane. Midfielders Ibrahim Adams, Abubakar Bari, Mahmoud Bajo, Jasper Sise, and Mohamedou Drame. The forwards are Abdullah Mane, Musa Baro, Aliou Fadera, Yankuba Minte, Abdullah Sise, Adam Sidibe, and Ali Sow. As the coach stated there while unveiling the squad, 2 players missed out due to injury from the last camp. That is striker Adam Bojang and midfielder Abdullah Bambalai Sanyang. And Siref Sinyan is also missed out because he's having a 1-match suspension. We've re-established connection with the coach. Coach, can you hear us now? We lost connection due to network here. Yeah, Coach, yes, so you were saying something before we lost connection due to internet connectivity here in Banjul.
To the bench, but really I think the focus should be on the players who came into the lineup, because you look at the likes of Bamba Sanyang, you look at the likes of Aliou Fadera during the week, and in all the preparation they were playing fantastically well, and their response to maybe not getting the minutes they would have liked to have seen against Kenya was an extremely strong response on the training field and around the camp. And so it was only natural that they need to be given their opportunity. So for me, I think we've got a lot of players. There's a lot of depth in the squad. And look, that's tough for the players, because maybe if they were in another team, they would be getting 100% of the minutes every match. But the nature is we've got a lot of high talented players who can step onto the field and perform at a high level for the Gambia. And it means we've got to give opportunities to those players when they deserve it, but equally nobody can relax in terms of their place in the team. They know they've got to work, they know they've got to perform every day in training, and if they do that, more often than not, the minutes they get on the field will reflect what we're seeing in the camp and what we're seeing on the training field.
Coach, the Gambia is currently on a run of 4 matches without defeat, 3 wins and a draw. We also won back-to-back World Cup qualifying matches for the first time. Even though we will not make it to Mexico, Canada, and the United States of America, we are currently third in the group, and we would want to consolidate this position going into the final 2 matches of the qualifiers. Considering the fact that Gabon can still qualify to the World Cup automatically, what kind of test are we going to expect against these 2 opponents, especially Gabon?
I think it's a really interesting group, interesting window, in the group, because Gabon, as you said, they simply have to win. The other sort of parallel match happening at the same time will be Seychelles versus the Ivory Coast. And Gabon will go into that making the assumption that the Ivory Coast will collect 3 points. Now, if that is the case, if Gabon drop points against us, if it's a draw or it's a win for us, then Gabon know that their possibility of going to the World Cup automatically will be gone. So they have everything to play for. So they will throw absolutely everything at us to make sure they can get the result. So that poses problems for us, because we know we'll be playing against a highly motivated and serious opponent. But at the same time, it provides opportunities for us, because Gabon are under a little bit of pressure, and we can hopefully take advantage of some of the things that may happen in that type of game that wouldn't happen in other types of games. We look back to 18 months ago when we lost 3-2 in Franceville, a game that was very close and where we largely dominated sort of 45, 50 minutes of the game. only to come up a little bit short in the second half. So we go in with no fear of Gabon, but we also know we're playing against an opponent who have the biggest prize in football on their doorstep if they can win their 2 remaining games. So it's definitely a big game. And for us, we go in wanting always to test ourselves. And then we go into the final game of the group against the Seychelles. And look, that's a game for us to go and, be very professional. And, the Seychelles go out every match putting 100% effort into the games, looking for those results. They're a developing nation, but I think you look all over the African continent, and the lesson is that if you underestimate one of the developing nations, you can very easily find yourself slipping on a banana skin. So we've got to go into the Gabon or the Seychelles game with maximum focus. But we'll think about that after the full-time whistle against Gabon. At the moment, and for the first week in camp, it's going to be 100% focus on the Gabon match. And then once we come away from that, we can turn our focus to Seychelles.
I want to keep you that long. We know that you have a whole day of travel ahead of you tomorrow. What is your final message before we wrap up this press conference?
I think the final message really is, for everyone to continue to follow in whatever way they can. We know the diaspora, the Gambian diaspora in Kenya will come out and support us, loudly, even if it's a small number. We know they'll be there. We know that all of the supporters back in Banjul and across the Gambia and across the world will tune in whatever way they can, via TV, via radio, via internet. And yeah, look, we feel that support. I think you see in the team now a team who go out and work tirelessly in a type of football that everyone wants to see. And we're starting to bring the results with it. So our aim is the same as always. Maximum effort, peak performance will hopefully lead to the results that we all want. But we know that federation, government, national team, supporters, when all of us come together, we can achieve something really special. And yeah, there's 2 big games in front of us, and we're going to be doing everything in terms of the Scorpions to make sure we get the results that everyone wants.
A safe flight to Kenya, and we wish you and the entire team, we wish ourselves a very positive camp, and hopefully we come out with 6 points, inshallah. Jerejef.
Thank you.